This was my first piece of 2024, and it took me fucking forever. So we're gonna go. When I started Allegory of a Life Well Lived, I had no idea what I was getting into. It was the first piece of its kind. I had never done anything like this before. I didn't even know I was doing this until I found this clock. All I knew about this piece was that it was about time. I wanted it to be about life, about the passage of our days and how these days mean something when they're involved with play. So this clock, suddenly my painting could move. In a lot of ways, I was in over my head. The biggest question I get for this piece is, how did it come to life? What was the planning? And my answer is always, there is none. And that's basically what happened with the mirror. The mirror was supposed to be a circle behind the hands, and that didn't work. I had never cut glass before. I cut this glass. It didn't go the way I wanted it to, and so I decided to fucking smash it. So this is the mosaic. That's how that came to life. The mosaic wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be something entirely different, but mixed media isn't like that. Art isn't like that. This piece wouldn't be what it is if I had a clue on how to do these things. I learned as I went, and that's why it took me 4 months. And the time was really significant. There was a lot going on in my life, a lot of reflecting on the meaning of a long, well-lived life, or even a short, well-lived life, and what that means to be living well. This piece told me more than I told it. A part of that being that it took patience. Sewing the burlap was probably the most annoying thing I've ever done in my entire life, and I don't regret it one bit. So yeah, this piece has a lot to do with life. I wanted to show this idea that life is about play, and that life and death aren't scary if we utilize our time in this kind of joyful and celebratory lens. Do we participate actively in our lives as if we are playing games? And I don't mean manipulation, I mean as if we are engaging with those around, as if we are having a good time, as if we are exploring for the first time. And this means life was worth it. And so when the hourglass came in, the hourglass was something that I said it needed to be on its side. I didn't actually say that, but it did end up being on its side because time had to stand still. And this comes from this idea that play expands time, that we lose track of time, we end up in the zone, we have fun, and time, despite it ceaselessly marching on for a moment, we forget. So the Reaper. The Reaper is a character in a lot of my paintings from this collection. And in this one, he's playing the fiddle. Now, the fiddle was really important. I needed it to be joyful. I needed the Reaper to no longer seem scary. I didn't want death to be something that was worth being afraid of. And he was forgetting maybe what his other roles were or what his other roles will be. And because I wanted this to be something that was super evident in the piece, it had to stand out on top of the burlap. I used masonite from an old bookshelf to paint the fiddle. It's also important to know that most of these pieces that come here are found objects. In a lot of ways, this is utilizing a bunch of shit I have, but also showing that this is what we do. We curate joy, we curate art. It's the reality that we have access to the ability to create and to develop, cultivate, and inspire joy in our lives. So the second question I get the most is, what's the deal with the pomegranate? Well, the pomegranate, I just thought it looked good. I wish I had a deeper answer. I wish there was something more profound. There is a lot of symbolism in pomegranates cross-culturally with fertility, femininity. The pomegranate came about in a momentary realization that the depth of this piece was lacking. Starting with the clock, everything needed to now elevate from the canvas, or else it would look weird. Yeah, and it's some people's favorite spot. Now, I just went on a whole fucking spiel about found objects, but all of these beads I purchased. I found these beads that looked just like pomegranate seeds, and they just had to be a part of the final work. I had no choice. I had a gun to my head. So the fingers crossed. That was a test to my patience and a testament to really the reality that, once again, nothing ever goes entirely as planned. I started off with a sewing needle and sewing thread, thinking this is sharper and the canvas is firm and maybe it's more convenient, but the thread being so thin looked absolutely dog shit. And it needed to look not dog shit. And the reason it's there, I've been asked a couple of times, why did I put fingers crossed? And I guess we just hope that our lives are used the way that we want them to be, that they are moments of euphoria and finding just these brief pockets of space away from time. And so, yeah, fingers crossed. We just hope. We just hope. So the big piece of this, again, is play. And the importance, I think, in these small pieces, the small, the coyotes, wolves, I don't know what they are, playing, the kids playing, that's about community and developing joy as a group or with another person. We don't get through this life alone, and cultivating joy, especially cultivating joy among friends, there is nothing like it. So yeah, and some more technical moments, I guess, in this piece was I had a lot of work to do. I had a lot of catch up to do. There was so many things in the piece that said, hold on a fucking second, you haven't addressed this properly. And one of those was the color. Because I did color blocking in advance, I had to spread colors later than I would have liked to balance it out. And shit happens. It's not really a big deal, but it was something that honestly, I think I do in pretty much all of my pieces is I start with one thing and then by the end I need to add a little bit more from the first step. It all comes full circle. I don't know what to say about this piece besides it changed my life. This was the first piece I did in 2024. It was the first mixed media piece I've ever done. It's the first that was on display in a gallery. It was the first that made me feel like maybe I could be an artist. And I'm really fucking happy with it. And I hope you are too. But yeah, this is an allegory of a life well lived.